We're the Hope Guys.
Nathan, Eli, we're going to have a conversation about authenticity because sometimes when things aren't going, we have to take a step back and say, you know what? What am I not being honest about? What do I need to confront about this situation that I've not been confronting?
Yeah, we're just watching this TED Talk, right? And they were talking about doing the uncomfortable work. And sometimes what there is to do is to get in communication about things that just don't work. Sometimes what there is to do is to just, to really look at yourself and see what are you standing for and what are you out to really cause in the world instead of maybe what you're trying to force in the world. You had something, Nathan?
Actually, I really landed. Like, what are we standing for instead of what are we trying to force? It's just like giving up the part of ourselves that feels like we have to get something, especially when survival's on the line. I assert a lot of us, and it's not always, survival in the financial sense. It can be survival in the emotional sense or certain other ways. And we got to take out of space our concern, but we have to communicate our concern, because if we don't communicate our concern, we don't give the other person the opportunity to invalidate the concern. We have our concerns as right, but we don't take our concerns to the source like they might actually be wrong.
And then what I hear in that, Nathan, is so when I allow my concerns to stay over here with me, they become this real thing. They become really big and overwhelming, right? And when I take my concerns out here and I share them with people, I actually get the opportunity for the concerns for me to work on them and actually create something, right? So it's in that, it's like, and look, here's the other part that's into that. No matter how uncomfortable it is for me to go and just be real with somebody, just be totally honest with somebody, it's worth it when I look at it. And look, I don't always do it right away, but it's worth it because I realize when I don't do it, there's no peace anyways. It's in my head. It's like, what's that silly expression? It's renting space in my brain for free. So there's no peace, there's no power. So really getting authentic and actually, just being real, being vulnerable, being honest with what's there. I mean,
we've been practicing for a while, really straight communication, but it comes up. Like it sneaks into our dialogue. It sneaks into our relationships. And then it's things that we didn't even know were there that are showing up as, wow, we haven't been communicating that. We have this concern. So we're actually dealing with something professionally right now, and bringing this into our relationship. I just think that's so respectable. I think it builds trust when you can communicate that way. And we're taking this lesson very powerfully because we've learned it countless times in the past, and I assert you've learned this countless times in the past where you had a relationship go south or you had something not go the way you wanted it to go. I've learned this probably 30, 40 times in my life.
It's so funny, right? We always know being honest, no matter how difficult it is, always works out better in the end. And then so many of us, including, we're talking about us, ourselves, we hide things.
Expectations, concerns, wants, and we just have them that they should be true. But if you don't actually bring it into communication, how can you expect? You can't.
Well, you can. You're left with a whole bunch of expectations, a whole bunch of, that should and it has to.
The woulda, coulda, shoulda.
All of that, right? You're left with a whole world of that, and nothing happens in the world.
That's right.
So we're really inviting you and ourselves. We're speaking to you. We're speaking to ourselves and speaking to you at the same time. And we're taking on rigorous, real crazy authenticity, just being, and look, authenticity doesn't mean that you get to say whatever you want, by the way, just for a few of you. Some of you have that authenticity. So I'm authentic because I tell people just the way it is. No. Authenticity is owning your own interpretation of how things are.
Because in the word authenticity is the word author. And until you get that you're responsible for how it went, you're not really being authentic. So you got to own that you authored what there was that showed up, and then you have freedom from it.
So I love that. So we are stepping into being the authors of our life, and we invite you to do the same. So if you'd like to, be more part of this conversation on a global level and be part of actually creating something that can impact people with these types of conversations, then come and join us tonight. Is it tonight? Is that open tonight?
Yeah, tonight's the open. Yep. We have an open call, 7 p.m. tonight. We're talking about bringing hope in the world and really just leading the charge from our hearts, being authentic, being real, being vulnerable, just being the types of people that we'd like to see the world showing up as. So 7 p.m., I'll put the link below, and we'll actually be talking about real opportunities to support and partner. But, we bring authenticity into everything. If it shows up on our calls, it shows up in our meetings, it shows up with our people, it shows up everywhere, and it's just a constant practice in our families, our friends, It's good. It gets to show up everywhere, and it's going to show up tonight. So we're going to have a great conversation. I'll put the link below, and we'll look forward to seeing you.
See y'all tonight. Thanks for listening, everybody.